Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait, her strength unequal to her task. Rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise. 'Rise up, O men of God.
Dude or yeah.
Kid. Yeah, boy. But
Are you?
yeah, but he wasn't for Verizon or anything. He was just simply treating me as if I didn't know what I was talking about. Yeah, I was polite and said, "Hey, if hey, listen." I said, "What was it? It was something that he kept using this lock. Using that terminology. It's locked. And yeah, I said, hey, listen. If you use that term one more time, you're gonna irritate the tar out of me." But good evening. Let's edify one another this evening, shall we? Our stray taskmaster has not yet arrived, or maybe he just did. But I don't know if our tech person is where he's supposed to be.
So evidently, Ezra's unloading a trailer.
Oh,
So now I'm doing tech, and CJ's in the background waving his hands frantically for something.
he's supposed to be here with me, Alicia. That's why he's waving his
And we
hands
can't even hear
frantically.
him.
Of course you can't hear him because, he's in the background. That means he doesn't get a mic. And of course, then once he gets here, he forgets the fact that he has had something else activating his mic. So he has to switch off of that and reactivate his mic with here. And he's sitting there grinning like, it's all some big old game.
Hi.
There you go. See?
Can you hear me?
Did you activate your mic?
Yeah. No.
Then I guess we can hear you.
Hello. Okay. It's not giving me audio indication, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Well, it's not giving you audio problems, so I guess you can hear me.
Well, hi. Hey, Alicia, I did private chat you. Hey, Tech, I need to be out there. That was my message.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know how to do private messaging on one stream.
Oh. Hold
Evidently.
on. I'll be back. No.
Why, are you going to activate your mic this time?
No. No, I'm not.
Alicia is recounting how Shua put a snake in her bed or something. Whatever it was, Shua put something hilariously funny in Alicia's bed. So now all Alicia wants to do is slap Shua. And Shua and Amy are dying with laughter in there. So I'm probably going to have two corpses to go deal with. Because at least what a way to go. They died of laughter. Whoa. CJ is trying to be green.
Oh,
Hello, Sam. Good to see you this evening. Hello, Donnie. It's ice cream time. Hey, you didn't bring me none, so I guess it's not.
look at that. Uh-huh.
That looks like either fish sticks or tater tots.
It is shrimp and cheese sticks.
Cheese sticks and shrimp. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Alicia made up a stir fry today out of some potatoes and some homegrown okra and some I think there's some garden fresh peppers that we got from somewhere, and some
green beans and chicken.
green beans. I don't know where she got the green beans from. But anyway. And what? Hand sanitizer. Ew.
No, chicken.
Oh, chicken.
Where did you get hand sanitizer out of chicken?
Because it sounded like she said hand sanitizer
Oh.
when she said and chicken.
Well, pay attention, Levi.
I can't. I'm broke.
Oh.
You when you're broke, you don't pay anything, let alone attention. Attention's always looking for handouts, and you just can't ever give them anything. So we stopped at the gas station last night on our way home after visiting Skylar, and O'Shea is sharing another muskmelon with him. And O'Shea says, "Hey, Dad, look at this. Look what Skylar gave me." And he pulls this out of his pocket. Isn't that cool? It would be rather cool if some of you could read it, but for some reason we are in the most smallest setting of dual screens that has ever been seen.
Bill Horn's Miracle. Oh, hey, another songbook.
Yes, it's Columbian's issue or Columbus issues or issue of if you can see that or not. Male 1 and 2 or male 1 and 2. The Columbian issue numbers 1 and 2, male or Bill Horn's male chorus pocket edition by R. Bill Horn. This is compiled by Bill Horn Brothers Publishers out of Chicago, Illinois. Numbers 1 and 2 combined. And it's really interesting, the preface. The preface here is an anagram from Columbian issue. It says, oh, and by the way, it's not RR, it's PP, Bill Horn. For Columbian issue, it says combination of 1 and 2 male chorus contains a large variety of quartets useful for all Christian work and social meetings. There are tenor and bass solos with quartet parts in range from E in the bass to A in the tenor. And any man who sings should not be without a copy. It will be a loss on your part should you fail to select this book. Unto all do I commend it because of its excellency and merit.
I like it.
The authors, P.P. Bill Horn.
Hello, Sam. Hello, Donnie.
Donnie had pork chops, potatoes, and cottage cheese.
Yum.
That sounds like a really good meal. So, when I get done with the green songbook, that the Tabernacle Hymns, Volume 4, Tabernacle Hymns number 4, excuse me. I get to go and begin working through this book.
Nice. Hold on.
No.
Well, I guess I'm let go.
Okay. But if I do that, this book would fall down. It has a total of 193 songs in it. Huh. I'm gonna need a magnifying glass in order to be able to see from this one.
So I ordered a new audio mixer. Not mixer, but whatever that's called. And I get it. And they just gave me the mixer. Didn't bother to give me the cord to power it up or the AC power or a manual for that thing.
Did it say it came with those?
Yep, the unboxing video on Amazon showed all of those. So I returned it.
Well, the unboxing video does, but did the actual did the actual statement include it?
Let's see. I think so. Let me see.
I told you I was going to send you that stuff for our buddy James sent me, and I didn't because I got distracted. Man, I tell you, it was so much of a bear because of, well, the last 3 days have been such a bear to actually make it through doing what I'm been supposed to do. For some reason, fiddle, and I still forgot to do at least one thing. My ability to concentrate the last The last 3 days has been horrendous, and I think I just figured out why.
Why?
Donnie has a friend who's been learning Hebrew, and it's been a journey. Now, the question is, has he been learning? Have they been learning biblical Hebrew, or are they learning today modern Hebrew? There's a big difference because modern Hebrew is built off of the Yiddish conglomeration that Hebrew and Aramaic kind of melded into. Whereas biblical Hebrew is the language that was prior to Aramaic influences back in the Babylonian period. So we have, prior to the Babylon's the Babylonian captivity, Hebrew was what was primarily spoken in the land of Israel, or land of Judah and land of Palestine, if you will. But then you have the Babylonians coming in and taking over, and the Babylonian Empire, the Assyrian Empire taking the Israelites away, and then you have the Babylonian Empire coming and taking away the Judah, those from the land of Judah. Interesting story. That's actually how the Jews came into the existence, by the way. You see, prior to that, they were Hebrews. They were all known as Hebrews or Israelites. And then someone just honked at either a bar out at the corner or deer. Anyway, but after these two nations capitalized or conquered Israel and Judah, because the Jews because Judah was the ones that were left the longest, and then of course the Israelites returned to Judah and Jerusalem at the end of 70 years by the decree of Cyrus the Great. And so Judah and Jerusalem were restored. Then the Israelites became known as Jews because it was the land of Judah, the land of Jewry. And
Never got that before.
but that's the reason why you have the Jews, because you have Judah, Jews, and then you have the Israelites, the 10 tribes, 10 northern kingdom. So anyway, so you have Hebrew, and then you have after you have the Babylonian captivity and the post-Babylonian captivity, you have Aramaic coming in, which was basically Arabic and Hebrew joining together and becoming the language of the land. And then eventually, as other languages, other dominating languages began to affect the Jews, well, then you have it morphing into Yiddish, and what we have today. It's kind of an oversimplification of the way that it goes, but if you want to know the language of the Bible, the original language, you're going to have to go back to biblical Hebrew and not try to learn modern day Yiddish, modern day Hebrew.
Yeah, Hebrew's still an active language, right? So
Yeah, I mean that's why. I mean it is still a live language, yeah, living language. Biblical Hebrew is still it is still taught. You can still find them. One of the premier experts on biblical Hebrew, and it's one of the premier courses was produced by Menahem Mansour, and that's what I was taught when I was going through preaching school, was the course by Menahem Mansour. I think it was Mansour, but Menahem. It might have been Menahem Moser. I know that the first name I got right, but I'm not sure about the second name. I'd have to go dig out my Hebrew book. That will be a chore to find. No worries, Donnie. A lot of people don't. It's like saying, okay, I'm learning Greek, the language of the Bible, but not realizing that there were actually three distinct versions of Greek. You have Koine Greek, the language of the common people, which died out within just a few short years. And by few, I mean like within the space of less than 10 years after the completion of the Bible. But you then have Classical Greek and you have High Greek, which is what took over the stage. I mean, you have Classical Greek, I believe, was the language of the artists, and you have High Greek, which was the language of the nobility. And those kind of overshadowed and took over, morphed and moved into the place of the of Koine Greek. Why is that important to know? Well, here's the thing. with the shutting down of Koine Greek so that the Bible never changed its meaning. Well, you have the language of the Bible never changing.
Yeah.
The language that the Bible, the Greek that the Bible, the New Testament was written in, will never change. Unlike unlike the High Greek and the Classical Greek, which continued to morph and to add new words and more definitions and change as time went on. Koine Greek stayed the same forever. And it was immortalized and defined. People stopped knowing how to read it and how to speak it shortly after it died out. But thankfully, there was, uh, God had seen a way to preserve its secrets, if you will, preserve its pronunciation, preserve its meanings. Because what happened was this beautiful thing called the Rosetta Stone. Why was the Rosetta Stone? And I believe that was found in 1942, it was 19, maybe it was 1929, something like that. Anyway, it was uncovered in Egypt in Rosetta, as they were doing excavations, and it held 5 different languages. It said the same thing in 5 different languages.
Mm.
It had I need to make sure I remember this correctly, but it had you had the pictograph, which was the language of ancient Egypt, pictography. You had Coptic, was it Coptic Hebrew? You had, I think, Latin. Hang on, I'm going to bring this up. Oh, it said 3. It says 3 languages. So
Ancient,
hieroglyphs.
and ancient Greek.
There was, I think, there was still one other one, I'm sure, because there was the Coptic that it's not showing.
Hieroglyphic.
I know I'm reading it too.
Demotic.
Yeah, the Demotic script, which was a cursive form of the Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yeah, I'm in Greek.
But it was it had so according to this, it had 3 versions of a decree issued in 196 BC, during the Ptolemaic dynasty of Egypt. So the Rosetta Stone, and I'm certain I was certain there was 5, because I think that I thought there was someone had 2 more languages carved alongside of it, but anyway. but I can see that there's at least three. Britannicus is several, but it was found near the town of Rosetta or Rashid, about 35 miles northeast of Alexandria, Egypt. It was discovered by a Frenchman named Bouchard in August of 1799. So I was way off. Maybe after the French surrender of Egypt in 1801, it passed into British hands and is now in the British Museum in London. But it was deciphering this that led to the unlocking of the Koine Greek.
So, was Hebrew harder to translate because Hebrew's not a dead language?
Hebrew is a unique language. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a harder language to translate. In some degrees, it would be because the meanings can morph over time, just like we have words in our language that will change meaning over the course of time. How do I put what words can I think of that have changed a lot in the course of our short span of time? One word that we are all familiar with. Okay, use that one. The word gay.
Yeah.
Originally that word meant happy, carefree. Nowadays, it means someone who is a homosexual. You see how that has morphed over time. And so there are many different types of words then that will change meaning over the course of time. One of the other things that makes Hebrew difficult in translation is the jots and the tittles. Going back in original Hebrew, there are none. Why is this important? Can you guess?
Well, jot and tittle can change the meaning of a word, right?
Why?
Would it be the same as the English adding like tenses or prefixes or suffixes to words?
Well, to answer my question, you have to understand what a jot and a tittle is. What is a jot and a tittle?
The little lines over the letters.
Well, they're actually dots and lines under the letters. But what are they? What do they signify?
I don't know.
Someone's calling you.
Nope,
Not what they. Or you got an alarm going off. Anyway. All right. So, to understand what a jot and a tittle is, we are suddenly feeding back.
What?
I'm suddenly feeding back, so I'm hearing myself coming through you.
Mm.
Thank you. Now let's see if I'm still doing it. Yes, still doing it. So however your alarm was happening, I'll wait till he gets back. Hey, he rejoined. So, question is, did his microphone rejoin? We don't know.
Hello?
Oh, there it is. Okay. The jot and the tittle, the reason why they're so important is because jot and tittles happen to be vowels. So adding a jot or a tittle changes a word because you're adding vowels, different vowels. So it's going to change a word. Words like, for example, if you have um, if you have the word BTTR and you have jots and the tittles that changes it from BETTER to BITTER,
Right.
that changes a whole different. I mean, it changes it a different word, doesn't it?
Right.
It goes from better to bitter. Or you even throw in another one and you have an A and you got batter.
Right.
Or a U and you got butter. So you got a
Mm.
bitter, better, better, butter. And all of a sudden you got an auctioneer going off with Betty and her bitter, batter, butter, butter. Yeah, I did work that one in there, didn't I?
You did.
So if a scribe is careless, he can accidentally drop a jot just simply as he's lifting a pen off of a paper, and all of a sudden it drops a drip of a drop of ink where there wasn't one before. Suddenly now has a different jot that has changed a word.
Yeah.
And it totally changes the whole commandment, whole meaning. And this is why scribes are, biblical scribes were so carefully trained. People don't realize that the Hebrews, the Hebrew scribes, they were not just anybody. These were people, and even today, those who transcribe the I forget what the name of those things are, but the boxes that the traditional Jews wear.
Phylacteries.
Phylacteries, thank you. The scribes who transcribe those, one mistake messes up the entire phylactery, and it will be redone. It will be disposed of carefully. It will be disposed of with reverence, but it will not be allowed to be produced. Now, there are companies out there that produce them via machine, which does reduce the amount of mistakes. But there are other companies out there that still do the hand produced phylacteries, and brother, you one mistake in that production, and that entire phylactery is ruined.
Hmm.
One mistake, they will not let it go through. That is how reverential that they treat these things, and that is also how reverential um, this the idea of transcribing the the Torah was, and how important they viewed it. Um, how reverential the scribes came to view their task. Now, was that always the way it was? No. I mean, there's always been those who have been careless and what have you. But to for the most, the careless and irreverent were very quickly seen and were very quickly dealt with. Even in and this is one thing I have long admired. Being a student of calligraphy, for example, this is one thing I really admired about the Catholic monks that did a lot uh, of their writing, because long before Gutenberg and his printing press came about, all copies of the Bible were done by hand. And there were monasteries that were devoted to nothing more than just simply writing the scriptures. And they produced gorgeous works of art. Um, I mean, their 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 books of the Bible were nothing short of masterpieces. There's one guy on that I follow on Facebook, and from time to time his posts come up. He is a bookophile. Uh, uh, he is he is also a bookseller, and will show he will show some of the books that he's come across, as he not only sells books but he collects books.
Hmm.
And one of the oldest books in his collection is a Bible. And I tell you what, the amount of detail that went into producing this book, and the amount of artistry that was produced by the monks, is nothing short of stunning. Because it wasn't these are not things that are done just simply rush job, and hey, you got it done in 30 days. These are works that are done over the course of years. And when you look at, like, the first letter of each chapter, or the first letter of each book, um, and how that letter is in its own little box, its own little art, it's got its decorative filigree around it, and the pages have their own filigree, and they held they held these things, because it was the Bible, in such a high regard. Now, understand that not everyone was going to be able to pay the cost of having a Bible. These were not cheap. And so only the learned, only the not just the learned, but only the lords and ladies, those that could actually shell out, exorbitant sums of cash, could actually afford to have these. Um, Churches, Roman Catholic churches, did not have these. these were, these type of Bibles were for the rich and prominent only. Um, so
It just goes to show how much respect people have for the very word of God. And
even amongst the clergy of the Catholic, there was still a high deal of reverence for what they were doing. Um,
it kind of challenges us as we think about the Word of God. I mean, we don't worship the Bible, but we do realize that the Bible is not some book that you should just have laying around and folded over, which I'm guilty of that. Uh,
we should not just be throwing it around.
yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong, and we should indeed utilize the space that we have, as in writing in the margins and making notes. But we also need to recognize the fact that it is the Word of God and have the proper reverence for what we hold within our hands. And so it's not something we just simply toss in the back of a car, or throw around on the coffee table, or kick it around on the floor and that type of thing. No, this is the Word of God. We hold it with reverence, uh, and we make use of it. It is not something just to let sit on the coffee table and gather dust. Pam says, "Does this include different manuscripts? The language, that is." I'm not entirely certain, as I understand the question, but even yeah, but I think if I understand it correctly, you're talking about the fact that there are so many different manuscripts for each of, like, say, the Pauline letters. Do they hold the same reverence for that? And the answer would be yes. You see, um, while there were, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? There are hundreds of different manuscripts. In some cases, there are thousands. I think there are literally hundreds for certain manuscripts, for certain letters of the Bible. And thus, when we put them together, is when we know that is one of the ways that we know that we have the right, um, the right and the complete letter of, let's say, Paul to the Thessalonians, or the Corinthians, or the Romans, is because we have so many different copies. And this is because Paul wrote one letter to the Romans, and then they would make copies of this letter and send it to other area churches, so that each congregation had its own copy.
yeah,
And in some cases, individual members would pay to have a copy, um, of these letters. And then what ended up happening? Okay, so you had all these copies to different congregations and different people. And not just people, but I mean, you had people having these different copies as well. And so, what is gone in one manuscript because of time and wearing, um, is not gone in other manuscripts. And so, when you put all of these copies together, what you find then is a complete picture of the entirety of the letter. One of my instructors, I think it was Brother Orrin Rhodes, likened it to saying, "Okay, let's for use a perfect example. Most of us here, CJ probably excluded, have received at one time or another the publisher clearinghouse sweepstakes letters in the mail." You have won $1 million. If your numbers match then the prize winning numbers drawn on such and such a day. And so you may get, let's say you get 15 of these letters, and not every single one of them contains every single word within that statement. But when you put all 15 of these envelopes together, well, you see that whereas some of them says you have won, $1 million. Some of them say you may have won $1 million. Some of them say,
You,
huh?
maybe you lost $1 million.
No. Some of them say you may have won $1 million. But the I'm not gonna continue trying to formulate different scenarios with different words missing. But you get my point. 15 different letters, and not every one of them has every single word within that sentence. But by putting them all together, you find, okay, the greatest majority of them have these words, and the greatest majority of them have these words and these words. And when you put them all together, you discover that the sentence says you may have won $1 million if your numbers match the prize winning numbers drawn on February 28th, 2026.
I think the fancy word for all of this under that that process you're describing, I think the scholars call it reconstruction.
It is. You have to reconstruct the letter. But the beautiful thing is that with 100 or 500 or even close to 1,000 different manuscripts, let's say of Isaiah 53, or of Isaiah, as we have of Isaiah from all of them, from whether it be the no, I don't need that, Alicia. Thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, you disrupt my chain of thought. Don't worry, that's scary. But of Isaiah, that we have across all from the Talmud, yeah, from the Talmud all the way across to the Qumran scrolls, and you know all the historical documents that we have of Isaiah.
Can you put us back to where we're supposed to be, Alicia?
When you have all those, Alicia, you're in the wrong layout. In other words, thank you. There should be one that we actually take up the majority of the space, and and we have equal parts. But reconstructing Isaiah, then from all of these documents, we know that we have the complete book of Isaiah. Because whereas some documents are missing this, that, or the other verse, some of them are missing this, that, or that part of that chapter, but the majority of them all contain you know, the rest, and we're able to reconstruct the entirety of the book with 98% reliability or 96% reliability, even 99% reliability, because of the amount of copies that we have containing um, the majority of the book, and the amount of copies that are missing said pieces are so few that increases the reliability. This is why the argument about Mark 16 verses 15 and 16 is such a uh, straw man argument, because in reality the majority of the text of the book of Mark contain the entirety of that section, Mark chapter 16, verses 15 through, is it 18?
Uh,
Or through
nine,
the end of the chapter, that section that is missing,
9
that's what?
9 through 20.
Thank you. 9 through 20. The section of Mark chapter 16 that scholars, those who are arguing against baptism and against Jesus saying that baptism is necessary, the majority of the text is the majority of um, our copies. That's the word I'm looking for. Have them, or have the space for it included, so that it was supposed to be there, but somebody never got around to making it, or what have you. It is obvious, painfully obvious, that that section was supposed to be there, that it is an actual part of the majority of the text, as well as it's an actual part of the majority of the text, that there is no argument.
Even if it wasn't, fine. Let's go to Matthew 28. It says
Well,
the same thing.
the Matthew 28, they can get rid of, they can dismiss, by saying, well, it says that we're supposed to baptize, yes, but that doesn't say it's for salvation. So we can, and this is where the Baptist doctrine of it's an outward sign of an inward grace. But Mark 16, 15, and 16 provide irrefutable proof that Jesus meant it for salvation. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be condemned or damned, or however the interpreters want to interpret that. That's irrefutable, saying that baptism is 100% for salvation. Whereas they can say, well, I'm saved before baptism in Matthew 28.
So
You see what I'm saying?
yeah.